Welcome back, everyone. I'm continuing on with my Winchester collection. I have 3 more here. We're kind of moving into the modern era. One of them doesn't look too modern, the one on the top, but it is. And I'll explain what it is in a minute. We're going to start with the bottom. And of course that one is the very different looking. It is the last of the Browning designs. So this is the last of the Browning era firearms. Of course they still produce all those, especially Japanese, Italian, and that bottom one is actually not a Winchester either. It is a Browning. But it's the 1895 internal box magazine, and that gave them the capability of shooting Spitzer bullets or pointed bullets so that the bullet behind the cartridge in front of it would not accidentally set it off. Gave them the capability to move up to modern bottleneck, more powerful cartridges again. As I said, Winchester design and development has followed the cartridge. This one is chambered in 30-06. It has a twin-lugged vertical sliding block in it for strength. And as you can see, this one is really nice condition, but we've lost the tube, the magazine tube across the bottom, and you can see the very much different look it has. Both of these next 2 Winchesters have a very different look, and then the third one goes back to an older design. So let's grab this Browning and bring it in for a closer look. We'll start back at the stock as I usually do. These have a solid butt plate on them, so this has this leather with a little bit of padding in it. You can see this is in excellent condition. A little bit of engraving, typical Browning engraving. Some were engraved, some were not. There were various levels of finish you could buy these in. Very nice example of a Winchester design, particularly a Browning design. Beautiful little droop on the fore end. See a few little marks. This gun is a used gun. I mean, by used, I mean it gets used. Chambered in 30-06. Tang safety on this one. And you can see, when you flip it around again here, it is a Winchester roll marked, as you can see there. But these were built by Browning. So Winchester continued to move along following the cartridge. Quite a few differences in that firearm. We'll probably go through at a later date and do close-up views and what makes each firearm unique. I think that'd be the best way to do it. I'm just giving you a general overview right now. The next in line right above it is the Winchester 88. Now we're moved to a hammerless design. I don't know how well received this firearm was, although right now it is known as one of the best lever actions ever made. It's basically a bolt action with a lever actuator. It has a front 3-lug rotating bolt, just like you would have with a bolt action. It is a side eject. As you can see, this one has a scope on it. It's a period scope. And the stock is also different. quite a drastic change because we moved to a solid one-piece stock. As you can see, the 95 right below it has a two-piece stock. This is the first one-piece stock. The king drilled and tapped for scope mounting, as this one has, and also for side aperture sights. And I do have the side aperture sight for this firearm. This one is chambered in 308. 308 was a pretty popular chambering for this cartridge. Again, we're following the cartridge. 308 is a more modern cartridge. Higher pressures. And a removable box magazine. Now this is an original Winchester 88. I don't know if there are reproductions, there may be, but let's take a closer look at it. Now this is a very well used gun, or should I say very well loved. Been around the block many times. It has also taken many deer. So again, a solid butt plate. It doesn't bother me in 308 too much, so I don't have any kind of recoil pad on it. You can see the very modern shape to the back of the frame. And incidentally, right here, these two plugs, that's where your aperture sights can mount. You can't have both them and the scope on at the same time. Not in this case, anyway. This side's a little worse for the wear. Like I say, it's been around the block a few times, held up a few trees, held up against a few trees for a steady rest. So folding rear sight, drops out of the way of the scope. There you can see that very much looks like a bolt action if you only had a bolt on there. But as a lever, the bolt is. You can see the rotating lugs there. No external hammer anymore. This one actually has a Winchester sling on it, rather than my usual Montana slings. It came with swivels already installed. And here's our removable box magazine on it. Crossbolt safety here. Now, the last gun on the bench is kind of a throwback gun. Winchester came out with these to look like a Winchester 94. In fact, the model is 94-22. It is in 22 long rifle. As I said, it's just a look-alike. It's actually got a different action. This is an angle eject gun, and it is grooved for a scope. Production ended in 2005. 1 year later, after the production of that gun, New Haven production shut down. So it is the very last of the American Winchesters. So we'll take a closer look at that. Again, we'll start at the back. Just got that, still has that nice Winchester feel to it on the wood. Very nicely checkered. Very much looks like a Winchester 94. Very classic feel to it, albeit a bit lighter, smaller. Very handy. Still a full-sized rifle though. Here we can see that side eject, angle eject, and the groove for a 22 style mounting system on the scope, if you desire to do that. So this was the last of the Winchesters made in America, and the last of their lever action designs. So there we've seen them all now. There were a couple missing in my collection, but they're generally rare and more difficult firearms to get a hold of. But that ends the Winchester story right there. The Winchester 94-22. So go ahead and leave me a note in the comments if you'd like to see something a little closer and specific, and I can make a dedicated video to that firearm. I probably will go through these in the future and get a little more detailed history-wise and function-wise, and particularly on that model that I own of that firearm. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.